How's it going, viewers? Super Sam 6i7 here, and this is the day I have been waiting for ever since I saw that first trailer, which, by the way, if you haven't seen my reaction to it, click here. And this is the premiere of Age of Ultron. That's right, this is Avengers 2. I am very, very excited to see this. I've got my whole Iron Man thing going for me. I'm going to head into the theater right now to go see it, and yeah, let's go. Go. Just saw the movie. I got a lot to say about it, but I will be right back with my review. Alright, so that was a very, very good movie. They definitely tried to implement some things from the comics in there, and they did a good job with it. But before I actually get to reviewing specific parts of it, I just want to let you guys know this is the non-spoiler review. If you want to see the spoiler review, click right here. Alright, yeah, so this is the non-spoiler review once again. So if you haven't seen the movie, stay right here, and I will make sure not to tell you guys anything too important about the movie. Alright, so basically, this movie, it started off basically where the last episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually left off. So if you guys have seen that, then you should know roughly what's going on when this movie starts off. And it starts off with a pretty good action sequence, I would say. It is actually a very good part of the movie. And then they introduce some more characters through it, and then it kind of moves along. And yeah, I mean, the opening sequence actually ties up a loose end from a previous movie. That's basically what the opening sequence is. So I won't I won't spoil that, but yeah, some of you actually a lot of you should understand exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, so basically, they're basically tying up a loose end, and then they get back, and then this is basically where some of the action starts up, and I feel like from that point on, not only does the movie change, but the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe changes, like drastically, and I actually feel like they did a good job with that. They did a good job with the characters who are making those changes. In particular, Tony Stark. They portrayed him pretty well once again. Bruce Banner. Actually, they showed a bit of like new layers to him. I would say, which is actually pretty interesting. And you kind of get to see a side of him that wasn't really seen-ish. I'm really trying hard not to spoil it. But yeah, I mean, like, so I feel like they did a good job with that. And then you can clearly tell that they're trying to focus on Hulk and Hawkeye a lot more in this movie, and I'm actually happy about that because I don't feel like Hawkeye's had a lot of good screen time. I mean, in Thor he was there, but all he did was pull back on his bow, and Coulson told him to stand down, so he ultimately did nothing. And then in the Avengers, he was brainwashed for almost the entire movie. So we actually really get to see his fun, cool side. But in this one, we get to see that. We get to learn a lot more about him, and stuff that I didn't actually think they'd be revealing about him. And I feel like that was necessary for the character. Honestly, I don't think they did enough. They did develop him a lot more so that he is... so he is more of like a superhero, I would say. But he still isn't quite there in terms of like Iron Man. He is a superhero now, basically, and you can tell that he's really there with the rest of the team, but you don't really get the sense that like he's actually an equal like member in terms of strength and power and everything. And I was hoping that in this one they would kind of actually show like maybe a whole scene or something like that where he completely takes down whoever's hacking them. And I thought that would be really cool he gets scenes close to that where he takes down some people on his own and the rest with help. So it doesn't exactly give that kind of feel. So I'm a little bit upset with that, but I do feel like they did try to push Hawkeye out there farther. They made him a lot closer to the comics. I mean, in the comics, you know Hawkeye has like this whole fun side and everything. We never got to see that until now, and they did a good job with it. Honestly, they actually did a good job of showing the personal side of Hawkeye, and I'm happy about that. They did develop Black Widow. They kind of showed her origins a little bit in this, and those who know their origins are actually going to be pleased with it. I was pleased with it. Because they kind of showed it in an interesting way, which I liked, and they reintroduced an Infinity Stone, and kind of like, I guess I would say reused it in a way that wasn't previously used. And then, partway through the movie, they're all kind of like really disagreeing and everything, and then they kind of, I guess I would say, disassemble, and then eventually they like reunite and everything. And by the end of the movie, people are Avengers who I wouldn't have thought have been Avengers yet. Because people were actually thrown into the movie who I mean, I knew they were going to be in the movie, but I didn't think they were going to be influential as much as they were. So I feel like basically they kind of snuck in some Avengers in that kind of sense for future movies, but that's actually that's fine. I don't really have a problem with that because they did an okay job with it, and yeah, they snuck in an Infinity Stone in an interesting way. Oh, and by the way, if you guys have been hearing the reports about Joss Whedon saying that there's no after credit scene, I will confirm that there is no after credit scene, but I'm not confirming that there is a extra scene in there. So there might be something else, but there's definitely not a post credit scene. So you can actually leave the theater while the actual credits are rolling. That's actually fine. I mean, I actually stayed in hopes that maybe Joss Whedon was just playing a joke on everyone, but he was not, and I ended up wasting time. So, unfortunately, yeah, but although... yeah, so I feel like they did a good job with that. And then everyone should know by now that Ulysses Claw was in this one, and this was actually more of an origin story for him, in a miniature sense. I mean, we're pretty sure that he's going to be in Black Panther, because he is a Black Panther villain, and basically how he presents himself in Black Panther should be shaped by this movie, and by, I guess, actually one scene in particular. And when you see this, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. I feel like they did a pretty good job overall with the villains. I mean, they made Ultron very memorable, I guess, in a sense, where it's like after seeing this movie, I'm gonna remember James Spader's Ultron for a pretty long time just because of how he played him. I think James Spader was the right call for Ultron. He brought a new level to Ultron that was never really explored in the comics, but actually very, very enjoyable to see on screen. In some trailers, they kind of make it feel as if he's drawing more of like a human side towards him. In the movie, for a quick second, I got that feeling, and then as it started to develop, I lost that feeling, which is actually a good thing, because he shouldn't really have that. And so I feel like they did a good job with that. And going into this, I knew Vision was going to be in it, obviously. But I didn't know how they were going to present him, and I figured, Vision's awesome. They're going to make Vision great, but I didn't know how great they're going to make him. I thought maybe they're just kind of push him to the side or something like that. But you know what? Once he was introduced, he rose to the occasion instantly, and you can hear the entire audience laughing at what at some of the things, like some of the jokes that basically he was making. Wait, not really that he makes jokes, but some of the more funny things that he does, and like almost cheering for some of the things that he does, because he was awesome in this movie. I gotta say, hands down, my favorite character in this movie. He was just so good. They represented his powers pretty well. I would have actually explored that a little bit more, but I mean they did what they did, and it was actually all right. Actually, this movie was really fast paced, and I have a feeling that's because they had an original storyline developed. Because the original storyline for the movie was supposed to be over 3 hours long, and then they cut it down to what it is now. And I feel like in those extra minutes, I feel like they had more development on some things, and so when they kind of reshaped it, there were some gaps. But I mean, it was okay in that regard. I was tolerant about that because it turned out okay. There was a few parts where I was like, wait, oh, okay, I think I know what just happened. But yeah, in that regard, some people might get a little bit confused, and you might have to just think a little bit harder on what exactly just happened. But if you can get past that, then you're fine. I mean, I got past that pretty fast. So yeah, so I feel like that was pretty good. And then, you know, there were reports that Joss Whedon said that an Avenger will die in this one, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. Well, I guess if you count this other person as technically being an Avenger, then I guess you can kind of technically say that 2 died ish. Actually, when this technical Avenger technically died, I thought, oh, maybe this was the person that Joss Whedon was referring to, but yeah. So I'll move past that. But they are really, really pushing for a lead to Captain America: Civil War. It's very apparent. It was pretty clear that basically at the end of this, everything's going to change. The characters are going to change. I mean, actually, you know, after this, they kind of branched off into, I guess, 3 ways. There is one side with Captain America and Iron Man sticking basically close to home on Earth. There's Hulk's side, which it looks like they're kind of developing him into his own storyline. I'm hoping for a movie in the future. I'm assuming that basically Phase 4 is going to have a new Hulk movie from this direction that they basically pushed in front of him. Maybe not. They might just not do it, and then in Avengers 3 it's like nothing actually happened. They could do that, but I don't think they're going to, because it really made it seem like Hulk is going in this direction, and it looks like a storyline that I recognize. And I really hope it's that storyline, because I actually enjoyed it. And then there's also Thor's side, and we know that Thor's going to have his own movie coming up called Thor Ragnarok, and so basically his side is going to lead right into that. Like, actually, right after this movie ends, should start Thor Ragnarok and should start Captain America 3. We don't know about that Hulk branch. That's still an unknown. But yeah, so I feel like it was pretty good overall. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, it was the best movie I've seen all year. That's not saying much since it's only May, but out of the movies I have seen, I have to say this definitely was the best I've seen in 2015 so far. And I definitely see why everyone's thinking that it's going to breaking records, because it was very, very good. I really recommend it, even if you don't really like comics, but you like action or adventure or comedy, you actually might like this. Actually, you probably will. 'Cause there is a fair bit of all of that wrapped into this. And yeah, so I definitely recommend it. It was very, very good. I give it 2 thumbs up. If I had a third thumb, that would be right there too. So yeah, overall, very, very good. I mean, you know, what else can you expect from a Avengers movie directed by Joss Whedon? I mean, it was really good. Yeah, so I thought it was amazing. And that's really all I have to say without giving anything away. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like. If you'd like me, feel free to subscribe. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.